All right, cool. What's up, y'all? So, I always try to make sure that I'm not the only one speaking. You guys know we have training videos all over the website. And have been an agent for nearly 3 years now. I'm selling a high level, but it's okay for me to tell y'all how to be successful with my leads because they're mine, right? So, of course, I would. But I like to bring individuals, men and women from different walks of life, as well as different experiences, who are trying our leads in a variety of different ways. Some people call different, some people have different strategies. So, I do appreciate this woman for taking the time to actually sit down and explain for y'all the pros and the cons of go ahead and working with us. So without further ado, we're gonna hop straight into it. So the first question I have for you is, um, you've ran our final expense and our infinite banking leads, right? So if you could just start off with explaining the difference between the two as far as like the experience that you've had so far.
No, yeah, I think honestly both of them have been super solid. They've changed my production drastically since running them. And I think honestly, if I had to choose one over the other, IUL, IBC, just because that's more of like my niche, but both of them are super solid.
Okay. All right, cool. And for y'all that don't know, and I don't know if I told you this, she's been doing well because a lot of people have been like hitting me up and been like, yeah, I know it's my XYZ, yada yada yada, just out like on Instagram and stuff, not even in the group message, which 100%, I appreciate. But whatever you're doing is working. But with that being said, can you kind of talk about, and I'm happy you said that because I have a lot of people who come and run these IULs, and you know that when we first started, we don't really have a phone script for the IULs like we do for final expense because it is a little bit more of a free flowing conversation. It's a different type of lead. So, could you kind of talk a little bit about your intro and your expectations when you get these IUL leads, and kind of like what you're saying when you get on the phone with these individuals?
Yeah, no, for sure. So with the IUL leads, I mean, I feel like the way the form is laid out is great. Like it asks all the initial questions. So usually whenever I get them on the phone, like, hey, Mary, looks like this is Somia, I'm the IUL advisor. I was just getting back to you about that information you requested. Looks like you wanted more info on how to become your own bank. Is that right? They're like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. That's right. Okay, cool. Let me just confirm some information, confirm the date of birth provided. And then I just jump right into, okay, so were you looking for any particular questions I could answer for you, or was it kind of just general info about the IULs? And then we just kind of have a conversation from there. I don't really follow a script either. I just kind of, do bullet points of IULs, the benefits, all things like that. But really, like you said, it's a open conversation. I'm just trying to figure out, what they like about the IULs, what they wanted to do for them, and then just kind of going from there with the flow.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And then I have a question because some of our agents do two different things. So when you are getting on the phone with these clients, are you doing one call closes? Are you setting appointments? Are you doing them on Zoom? Like, how are you presenting to these clients, and when are you presenting to them?
Yeah, so surprisingly, honestly, a lot of the IULs have been one call closes, like even, for higher premiums. Like if you, I think, do a good job of, asking the right questions, explaining it, there's no reason why you can't, show them the illustration and knock out the application all in one call. And that's usually the case for me. If I do have to book a separate appointment, I will, because usually what I like to do is I'll, ask them their questions, I'll go through, throw together an illustration real quick, and then just email it over to them or share my screen so that way they can see. I always tell them, hey, I'm a visual person. I'm sure you'd like to see how this thing really, can potentially grow for you. Let me break this down. You can see the numbers, year by year, the potential cash value. And then usually right after I show them the illustration, they have no other questions. And then we just roll right into the application.
Okay. Easy like that. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because when I first started doing these, everybody swore by getting on, Zoom call. And
Oh,
now that
yeah.
we've been doing this for a little bit over a year, it's like people are starting to be like, yo, I'm just going straight into it. And it's
Right.
easy like that. So that's cool. Okay. And then I have another question. So a lot of people ask me this, and I honestly don't have the answer because, like I said, I'm not active like how you are. So texting, emailing, are you doing that with these leads? Are you following up with people you aren't able to get in contact? Because everybody knows everybody doesn't pick up the phone right when you call them. There are a lot of callbacks, there are text messages, or emails. Some people ask, are you doing that, or are you just banging the phones until they pick up? Or what's your process for the leads that do not, answer on the first round, or you're struggling to get in contact with them?
Yeah, no, that's a process I'm trying to get down now because usually I am just, banging the phones. As soon as I get the leads in, I'm giving them a call. If they don't answer, I send them an initial text like, hey, this is Somia. You requested this information. What time are you available for me to give you a call? And a lot of people actually respond to that text. If they don't answer the first time, they'll respond to the text. Yeah, I'm actually at work right now. Give me a call after 5. Okay, cool. And now I've got an appointment booked. But if it's been a little bit and I still haven't gotten a hold of them, either by, like sending them a text or reaching out, I may send them like another additional text, like, hey, just reaching back out, haven't heard from you yet. Is this still important to you? And then at that point, some people will say, no, I'm not interested. Okay, cool. I've got enough leads coming in. So just on to the next. Or if they still haven't responded, just kind of slowly dripping on them, with the text. Or if I do have some extra time to just dial through old leads, I'll just, keep dialing them.
Okay. Okay. And then I think this is super important. So because you do both, can you explain the psychology of the sale and the lead between the two of them? So like what is the agent's expectations going into these, right? Because for all of you who don't know but are watching this currently, right, you do obviously get more leads with final expense because they're, it costs more to generate for the IUL. So what is your like what is the psychology that goes into it? Because I think that's just as important as you went over your phone script, but it's also understanding, the lead and their process. So how do you look at the difference between the two, that's allowed you to have success?
Honestly, I don't really make it any different. I'm like, this is somebody who requested information. It's my job to get this information to them. And whether it's final expense or IULs, I'm just, treating it just as normal. I give them a call. If they don't answer, I send them a text for both final expense and IULs. And then same process, I know what I'm capable of as far as like selling abilities. So it's just kind of comes down to keeping the activity high to, get into contact with as many people as possible. But yeah, as far as psychology goes, I don't treat final expense or IULs any different. The only thing that's different is how I'm presenting the product or what products I'm presenting. But as far as the process, I keep it pretty much the same.
Okay. I actually really like that answer because I feel like that's a part of why you've been successful because there are two spectrums, right? So you can go into it and almost overhype this lead, like you're saying. Like you can go into it and be like, oh, this person is, they requested this IUL and they're this, that, and the third. And now you're kind of going into it with the wrong, you're so excited about it that if they don't pick up or, you don't get as much leads, you're just super upset because you put so much pressure on yourself to make sure that every single lead is a banger, versus
Right.
with the final expense, you don't have that same attachment to it. But from what you're saying, you're able to have the same level of detachment from both of them. Like, hey, this person requested, I'm gonna pick it up and call it, regardless of what it is. And I think that's super super important. So we talked about all the good things, and I don't want to take up much of your time, so I kind of want to pull this thing back. If you could talk about the cons of either like the system we have, like things that we can make better, or just the cons of the leads themselves, because everything's not all, oh, I get quick premiums with the IULs, etc. So if you could just kind of talk about either things that me and my team can do better for people that are just joining, or just like the cons of the IUL or the final expense leads from your experience, please.
No, yeah, honestly, I really don't have like too many cons. Like I said, this is since running these leads, it's completely changed my production. And it actually makes me even more excited, I feel like, especially with the IUL IBC leads, because like I said, it's not so much, final expense script. It's just more of a conversation. You get really interesting people that fill out the IUL IBC forms too, anybody from, stay-at-home moms to business owners to, I don't know, I just like the conversations a little bit more just because it's more natural. But no, yeah, like cons, I really don't have too many. I think the only thing maybe from like a new agent's perspective, they come in, and see IUL leads and maybe they want to instantly start running those, but it's not for everybody, especially if you don't know what you're talking about, because a lot of what it comes down to, I'm able to do one call closes because I know what I'm talking about and I'm confident on the phone. And if you're dealing, especially with IULs, a little bit more money involved, these people on the other side of the phones, they want to know that, whoever is helping them with this is legit, right? So you have to be super, knowledgeable. And I have people asking me about different things like, oh, can I put my IUL in a trust, or, just different things like that that go a little bit above, just basic life insurance. And it's important to be able to be quick on your feet and know these different things. So that way it doesn't cost you the deal because, maybe you're new and you don't exactly know how this thing works. So I think the only con, I mean, not even really a con, it's just new agents, be aware of like, you can't necessarily just jump full foot, into IUL IBC leads, but educate yourself, get the practice under your belt with the final expense, and then gradually work your way up to that. But as far as like cons for the leads, I really honestly don't have anything to say.
Okay. Well, that's definitely good to hear. I do want to touch on something, excuse me, because I don't have the answer to this. So where did you learn that? For the people that are like, oh, I hear everything you're saying, but I don't know where to start. If you were speaking to them, what would you say to them in terms of them learning more about IULs and becoming educated like you are yourself?
100% YouTube University. Like even before I was running, these leads, I've always been interested in like the IUL, IBC side of things. And eventually I knew this is what I wanted to do more long-term with this business. So it was just kind of came down to doing my research when I could, whether it be about IULs, annuities, just, more advanced market stuff. And then being able to, just because I was interested in it for myself, interested in educating people on it already. So, a bunch of videos on YouTube, books you can read, IULs have been around forever. It's just for whatever reason recently they've been popping off a little bit more. But yeah, there's a bunch of, stuff out there. You just have to take the time and educate yourself.
Okay. I think that's very important for everybody that is listening. I've preached about it since we first started doing this, is please don't hop into this thinking that everything is sweet and roses and you're going to get your teeth kicked in, because people are going to ask you questions. Remember, the people, as she mentioned earlier, you will be dealing with business owners. You'll be dealing with individuals that have probably heard things or talked to other people who do have these plans, but they were working with somebody else. And now you're coming to the picture. They're seeing the ad. They're like, oh, I've heard about this in some way, shape, or form. They fill it out, and then they get on the phone and they start asking you a bunch of questions. And if you are not informed, now you look like less of the authority figure. You're losing that power. You're losing control of the conversation. And now even if they do get approved, which they more than likely won't if that happens, right, you're kind of putting yourself in a situation where you don't want to be, right? Because now they don't even know if they trust you. You can't answer questions. You're kind of stumbling, etc. So I appreciate you for, touching on that. Last thing, because we right at 14 minutes, is there anything else that you would just like to leave with people in regards to working with me and my team? So working with me, Franklin, anybody, in terms of like expectations, anything that you would just kind of, the floor is yours. You can, finish it out or close us out however you see best fit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been great. Franklin's been super helpful. She's probably so annoyed with me especially because I make things so difficult whenever it's time to pay. But no, yeah, honestly, the whole process has been great. I'm super grateful for you and your team. And I think just for anybody who wants to, try it out with these leads, don't come in, thinking like, oh, everybody is a guaranteed deal. Like it's not. It's still, you still have to put in the work, you still have to show up every day. You still have to be consistent. It's definitely higher quality leads, but like I said, it's not a guaranteed close. So just, treat it like everything else and, keep your activity high and you'll be successful too with them.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you for taking time to hop on here, and thank you very much. And like I said, y'all, if you guys need any more information, you can hit me up directly or message Franklin. She'll be able to make sure that you are taken care of. But I hope these videos are a help to you all, and you all have a great rest of the day.